Hello there, I'm Tim and I'm at Margate. There's the station over there. It's quite windy. It is 2 in the afternoon on Friday, the 12th of May 2023, and I'm basically running quite late, so I need to crack on. We'll talk more as I walk. Blimey, that's quite windy, as you can see. Great weather for windsurfing. Oh, I've got the fluffy thing on the microphone, but we might end up with a bit of noise today. Certainly today. Anyway, I don't know about the rest of the week. So I checked the week's weather, as you know, a responsible researcher does, and yeah, apparently today is going to be the worst day for it. So, and I think I've just missed some quite bad rain around here as well. So it should ease up for the rest of the afternoon. Then the rest of the week's going to be overcast with bits of sun, but I forgot to check the wind speeds. So yeah, I don't know if you can hear this at all. It's got the fluffy thing on, so we'll see. Yeah, wow. Blimey, it's about 20 feet in the air, that guy on the kite. I'm in steady mode rather than zoom mode at the moment. Maybe I should sort of use my body to shelter the microphone a little bit, perhaps. Anyway, it's Margate seafront still. Not many people about because it's lunchtime on a Friday. So Friday, not Saturday start, because I did research and I realised that, yes, there's a rail strike on the Saturday I'm planning on going. So I carefully and cunningly took Friday off and thought I'll move the whole trip a day earlier. It's already a 7-day trip. I'll talk more about the route and get the map out when there's, like, you know, not 30-mile-an-hour winds buffeting me in the face. But yeah. And then I got to the bus stop this morning at about 7 o'clock-ish, and I checked the route again using the Google route findery tool, and lo and behold, Friday's the train strike as well. So a lot of panic and rewiring and rerouting and so on. All quite a frenzy. Not the kind of hassle I need this first thing in the morning on this trip. Anyway, goodbye Margate. I've got to crack on because I got here by bus in the end instead. Bizarrely enough, there was a bus running from Reading to Canterbury. Yeah, I know, odd, very random, but which worked perfectly for my needs. 2 small connecting buses at each end as well. So yeah, I've had to make do without trains today, which I think the whole country's going to resign themselves to doing if this keeps up much longer. Yeah, but on the plus side, it only cost me 25 quid, so that's all right. I mean, a peak commuter time pass through London probably would have cost me the best part of 100, I think. This is all one way. Trouble is, it took 3 hours longer than I was planning, so I'm here at 2 o'clock rather than the lunchtime start. Although today's first day is quite a short one, only 12 miles, so I think if I keep moving, keep a wiggle on, I can get to Swalecliffe Holiday Park, where I think according to their website blurb, it implies they take tents. Mind you, this wind is going to be a problem for... It make camping interesting. We have to find a wall to hide behind. Yeah, if that doesn't pan out, there's a small nature reserve nearby, and I just don't care. You know, not many people out today. It's like I say, it's the middle of a working day and quite off-putting weather, which will get better through the week, hopefully. So anyway, I'm going. Let's do it. Crack on. So yeah, 12 miles to do today before sunset, which is, I don't know, about 6 hours, I suppose. I can just about do that, I think, and get checked in somewhere. It's all salvageable. It's all recoverable. I can do this. But yeah, quite a hectic first day, day 0. So yeah, I'll talk about the overall plan and with maps and things in more detail, obviously. And I guess if you just keep watching, you'll see it all. But yeah, the basic plan this week is start in Margate. There it is, and go 120 miles that way to Gravesend, where there is a ferry crossing to Tilbury across the Thames, which that sort of the Thames, sort of the North Sea. Yeah, and then that will basically get me ready for Tilbury and onwards up through Essex in September. That's the plan. Gravesend being the first available means to cross the Thames. So That's mostly going to be following the Saxon Shore Way, which I'm not on at the moment, but which I'll pick up around Herne Bay. It goes around Thanet for some reason, don't know. So yeah, Saxon Shore Way pretty much all the way to Gravesend, although I'm going to be adding some extra loops as well, because the Saxon Shore Way doesn't bother with the Isle of Sheppey, and some local friends that I've talked to suggested I didn't bother with it either, because apparently there's strange and murder people there, but I expect they're just exaggerating. Also the Isle of Grain, I'm going to check that out as well, because I love an oil refinery. But yeah, this makes this probably a long week for me, and one of my longest distance weeks. I will probably be doing the full 7 days. I have tried to anticipate my usual push forward effect, and I've sort of tried to factor that in. So this is going to be, so in a way, the extra Friday I've taken off of work to do today, starting a day early, gives me an additional day in hand to get a 7-day thing done. So we'll see, maybe 6, maybe 7. I'm going to try and stick to the schedule this week, because the day stages are quite big. But yeah, 12 miles today, just as a half-day start, and hopefully a campsite, because new tent. Yeah, and I've never used it because I don't have a garden, so that was perhaps ill-advised. This is not the ideal conditions to be experimenting with a brand new tent in, to be honest. But, oh well, I guess I get to go kite surfing after all. Anyway, I've got to crack on, talk more soon. Ooh, yeah, come up on top for a bit, mostly so I can hide in here. Hear myself think for a moment or two. I can't stop long. Oh, yeah, I reckon I've got 13 miles to do in about, I don't know, call it 8 or 7 or 8 o'clock. Sunset's quite late at this time of year, so that's good. It's like 9 properly before it's dark, but I need to get to a campsite which may or may not have room for tents, or even know what a tent is. Let's say their website showed tents and talked about tents, but it looked like a static caravan site from the satellite photo, so we'll see. But that's at Swalecliffe. This is Westgate. This is, it's got that sort of south of England green and grassy foreshore type of thing going on. You can see the massive tower block thing next to the Dreamland Park in Margate. I don't know, maybe a mile, 2 miles perhaps, have I done so far. Lots more to do, obviously. Yeah, I just wanted to just get away from the buffeting wind for a moment. Lots of beachside cafes, all with firmly closed doors and lights on inside, and people sitting there staring out at me. Yes, I understand your confusion. A little uncertain myself. But I think it's going to be like this kind of thing all the way today. Just very tame, pavemented promenade shoreline, so I think I can probably get the mileage done as necessary. A little bit boring in places perhaps, but I'll try and capture some pictures of things as we go. Oh, usual bag. Yes, new tent. As you regular viewers may have seen, the last one snapped some poles on it again. So I've retired it. It's got a place of honour in my trophy room now. But yes, this thing is the apparently Snug Pack Scorpion 2. Again, I don't get any money, don't buy it, whatever. I've no idea how good it actually is because I've never used it, which is perhaps a little rash. But yes, and in this wind, yeah, it can be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how windproof it is, I guess. Or I'll die in the attempt. Yeah. Oh, I might save some of my ruminating, gabbing about geopolitics and the times we're currently living in while I record this for later in the week. Yeah, I was so busy checking to make sure it wasn't going to rain. I mean, there wasn't much I could do about it if it was going to rain. I was just going to go anyway. But I was staring at the little raindrop cloud icons, and I wasn't paying much attention to the little number with the arrow pointing out of it. So I'm hoping this calms down towards evening and stays relatively calm for the rest of the week. But we'll see. There's going to be a fair bit of ninja camping, or rather standing motionless in fields overnight, like in Skyrim. Throughout this trip, but first night's a campsite, because this first section I'm on here, between here and between here and Sheppey, I suppose, certainly here and Whitstable, is quite a lot like this, really. Well, I suppose you can wild camp, but that's generally taken as vagrancy, so try not to do that. It takes the piss a bit. So yeah, so I think I might have found a campsite, but we'll see. It's all a bit contingent. It's next to quite a small nature reserve, which I could stand in overnight without moving. But yes, not very sheltered. It's all on shore. It's all coming from the north. Now, I mean, it's not cold, but you know, it's a relentless wind that does take the heat away from your body as you're going, which is great for thermoregulation. It's great that I'm not going to get too hot while I'm walking, but yeah, I had to get the gloves out because my fingers get chilled quite a lot by the wind. They work like radiators. So I've got my gloves in my pocket. In May, I know. I don't know what the actual temperature is today. So it's only about like 14 or 15 or something, but I think the wind's taking the edge off a bit, dropping it somewhat. I think I've missed the rain here. The bus I was on got rained on quite a bit. Yeah, I've already been to Gatwick and Heathrow airports today, so it's shaping up to be quite a travel day, quite a challenge. But yeah, I finally got here only 3 hours later than I was hoping for, which has put a bit of pressure on. So we'll see. Anyway, I can't stop for long for coffees and things today. I need to bag up and get on with it. So here we go. Another push. Quick, sheltered headland, record a bit. What we're looking at here. I don't really know what's up there. Herne Bay is probably the next big thing, moderately large thing. Somewhere out that way. I don't know if that's in sight or around the end. Oh, hang on, I have to stop and go to zoom mode. I'm in steady cam. Here we go. 10 times zoom. Yeah, don't know, certainly going up and on there today, yeah, absolutely, but I don't know if that's Herne Bay or not. Herne Bay is important because I think that's where the hang on, switching back to steady mode. There we go, I need the steady mode in this wind. Yeah, Herne Bay is where the Saxon Shoreway rejoins the coast, because as the astute may remember, it sort of leaves the coast at Sandwich and just cuts across the end of the peninsula up to here. Don't know why. Some sort of prejudice against Thames, I suppose. I think perhaps in Saxon times Thames was actually an island. I don't know. I'll have to ask. But yeah, I love it. I love this. Yeah, obviously, you know, it proposes a certain amount of technical challenge for filming a small documentary, but just the sort of grey and the yellow, good colours. I like it. Also, not many people about because they're all smarter than me, and they're all inside cafes and things, which I don't have time to frequent myself. Yeah, but it's very elemental, very rugged. I expect this is pretty much what it's like all the time in Scotland, which I still haven't decided if I'm going to do or not yet. Yeah, so yeah, just keep on. I'm a bit flummoxed at the moment. My current navigational difficulties are whether this promenade actually goes all the way along the bottom, or whether it just goes to the end of a cliff and stops like it did outside Ramsgate. So I'm having to keep choosing to go up on top or carry on round under. Just putting more stairs in my way than I'd like. I thought this whole stretch was going to be quite flat, and I suppose on the whole it is, but there's no very large hill ranges or cliffs or whatever. But context. There we go. So what do you hear? Something like this? No, that's Margate. I'm somewhere here, I think. Or am I here? West Gates. I don't know. There's a lot of wests. Anyway, Herne Bay, way off of there. Yeah, okay, long way to go. Anyway, yeah, there's all last time. That's where my hoverdrome was. And yeah, I went all around there and then came home. And now I'm starting from here today and made it to one of these. I'm not sure which. There's no "you are here" arrow. Disappointing. Okay, onwards. Gotta crack on. Need to keep my schedule because I'm meeting some friends for lunch at a specified pub next day, so it's all got to hang together at least until that pub lunch, and then I can, you know, freestyle it a bit more. Yeah, I mean, you can see the work they've had to do to stabilise all these cliffs. I mean, they're not terribly tall, you know, you can see cars and houses for scale, you know, they're only about 20-30 metres maybe, but quite crumbly, chalky stuff. Doesn't really say permanence to me, not like Cornwall or whatever. And yeah, there's a low-lying path along the bottom there I could potentially use. See how far it goes, I guess. Just have to hope that, you know, I know when to come back up again at the top. Or I could try and traipse along the tops. Might be more sensible, I think. See what the way of the path looks over there as well. I've got no real route to follow at the moment. I'm not on any particular long distance path. I'm just walking along a road, you know, following the sea. Which is, you know, useful skills. I have to use my initiative a bit, but it's always easier when there's an actual path. Right, so, because I think the one just directly below me did stop. Came to a sort of, just a barred gate, and that was the barred fence, and that was it. So that would have involved a lot of backtracking, and I'm kind of reluctant to have to do much backtracking today, because doing the backpacking, because I got to get to this campsite before it shuts, or before dark, or anyway, whatever. So yeah, don't want to have to double back any more than I absolutely have to. Ideally, not at all. Well, let's find a way. This does seem to go a long way on this pavement. I thought I'd chance it. Got the entire thing to myself, which is how I like things. And you can see some of the problems there. That's obviously someone's garden fence and gazebo behind it, and that's probably someone's garden. The other fence there, matching panels, so obviously this is all one property. And yeah, there's grass on top, but it's been reinforced with brickwork here and there. But yeah, it's just on borrowed time. This whole coastline, we're going to see much worse of that as we go further north as well. Just this whole side of the country is not made of the best materials. Not like the other side, Wales, West Scotland, Cornwall and Devon. Wow. Someone's made a feature of the coastal defences there. I mean, that's essentially why this massive footpath's here at all. It's not really about providing me with nice shoreline access to the north coast of Kent. It's more about stopping these cliffs getting any more of a pounding. I'm hoping there's some stairs or a way out at the far end, but we'll see. Chance it, risk it for a biscuit and all that. You can see a shelter on the top there. Oh yeah, that looks like a way out. A couple of those here and there, it'll be alright. Yeah, I wasn't really counting on this fierce north onshore wind. Quite unusual, I don't know though. I'm less familiar with prevailing winds and climate around this side of the country. I don't know what normal is out here. Quite unusual for a north wind. I mean, it's quite unusual for it to be coming from the north and be this mild as well. It only feels like about 10 to 12, 15 degrees maybe. I'm getting quite warm in my coat, but yeah. And that is lightening up as well, that's good. Definitely missed whatever rain was here. I think most of this wind has got a lot to thank it for, because I think it's carried most of the rain off into interior of Kent and stuff. Anyway, so yeah, wow, look at here. All sorts of weird things poking out of the cliff along here. It's a bit like that, is it Petra? That place that gets used in films a lot. Indiana Jones film and stuff. Doesn't really look military as such. I don't know. Interesting landscape. Aha! That looks promising. Too windy to hold still. More award-winning camera work. So I've been just, stalking that jogger, but, in a nice way, just to see if they can continue around the cliff, and if they have an expectation of there being more path around the edge of a cliff, which I don't know. They obviously live here, they obviously know if they can get through or not, so I reckon I'm good to carry on around this next bay. It just goes quite a long way, this, and I've seen signs, cycle path signs, saying Reculver that way, which we will look at. It's an old Roman fort of some sort. I'll have a good poke around there when we get there. But it implies that this is some sort of mini long distance cycle path, which tend not to just end in brick walls, So I think there's a reasonable expectation of following this shore defence all the way. Wow. I mean, that's that's asking for a camping, isn't it? It's too soon, too early. Need more miles. Yeah, wherever I do end up, I'm going to need some sort of shelter. Some sort of wall or toilet block or hedge or something. I mean, it's a very good tent, and I'm sure I shall gush more about its technical specs later, but I think any tent has an upper limit in terms of wind speed, I think. Certainly I do. No matter how well constructed it is, I don't think I can cope with more than 30 mile an hour. Just lie there terrified for 7 hours. I'm hoping it dies down a bit. I mean, the coast is pretty much, you know, perpendicular onto this wind all the way today, so not going to turn down a creek and find something sheltered today. Oh, that's bracing now. Blow my cobwebs out, I can tell you. Yeah, new landscape. All these cliff stuff seems to be petering out here, down to sort of low-lying dunes along here now. I mean, this is probably more representative of what we're going to see for much of the week, because it's all salt marshes and bird sanctuaries for much of the trip this week. So this is in fact a bit unusual. This is the Isle of Thanet, I guess, coming off the Isle of Thanet down to more grassy, low-lying farm country, which where probably coastal defences are even more important, because the sea will just carry shit off. I mean, yeah, we are sort of in a river mouth, but it's a very wide river mouth here, so functionally it's the sea still. So I don't know how much protection, you know, the Isle of Sheppey and the far shore provide to these shores. Oh, we'll see. I'm not really here as a coastal defence engineer per se. It's just an amateur obsession. All right, but yeah, it does look like this shore defence thing. They spent a lot of money basically building a wall that goes a very long way along this shore, and they've put a footpath on top of it, so I can probably follow this for a very long way. So yeah, we're trying to get to somewhere called Reculver now. So we've got Margate via Promenade, Viking Coastal Trail, that was it, I remember seeing that last time. Reculver, yeah. Well, that implies you need a bicycle to get there in any kind of reasonable time, so multiply that by 3 for me. Bicycles go about 3 times as fast as people generally, in the same kinds of distances. Yeah, big old row of beach huts coming up. I love a beach hut. I wonder how much these ones cost. I'll have to ask. Ah, end of the line. Whew. Well, end of this promenade anyway, so it just goes up those steps probably and along the top. Visibility's picked up a bit, but I mean, that's good. It means it's less likely to actually rain, but that wind doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Trying not to be resentful about the whole thing, but you know, it's difficult not to feel personally victimised. It could be worse. Try not to point my microphone directly into the wind, actually, where I can. There we go. Goodbye, Thanet. Shall see you again never, probably. I don't tend to go back on myself on these trips. There's so much more coast still to do, you know. I haven't got time for revisits. Except Minehead. I sometimes go to Minehead for New Year's Eve, just you know, as a little homage, pilgrimage. Remind myself of the scope of this whole stupid thing. You're right there. Yeah, fluffy. Is it fluffy enough? I'll have to listen back to this. I'm checking the clips so quite often. Right, let's go up here and see what's next. I saw some big twin, almost like Notre Dame-like thing on the horizon in the mist, but I don't know what that is. Whitstable has a cathedral? I don't know. Let's find out. Up we go. I mean, this would be perfect wild camping right here. No one would mind, I don't imagine. Quite far from everywhere. But yeah. Right, what have we got over there? I'm going to go to zoom mode. I mean, it's a fantastic footpath. Cycleway, whatever, dual use. Lovely. Goes for miles and miles. It's nice and flat. Yeah, can't complain about the path. And the wind is a bit aggressive. God. Yeah, I just looked it up. It's basically 30 mile an hour gusting to 39, and it feels like it. And it's going to basically keep doing this to lesser degrees until Sunday when it drops off. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I've got a couple of days of this. Have to be very careful where I put the tent. Clearly. I mean, I'm actually walking at a sort of slant, you know, so it's that bad. Here's some local information. And look, yes, see, 2,000 years ago, and it was an island, which is why the Saxon Shore Way goes off round here somewhere. And Saxons wasn't 2,000 years ago, but well, a while ago certainly. 15th century map of Ireland, Thanet. Press pause for more information anyway. Alright, so you are here. Made some good time actually. Head down screaming because of the wind, but so there's a Roman fort somewhere nearby, so that thing over there must be not a Roman fort, must be an abbey or something. It might be Whitstable then. Yeah, I don't care what the schedule's like. If I find a coffee shop, I'm going to go and sit in there and sob for like half an hour or something. I think I've earned it. It's wind, man. I'm going to have real problems tonight, I think, regardless of where I end up. I am seriously contemplating just finding a B&B for tonight, you know, rather than lose the entire trip on the first night through sheer terror and frustration. So we'll see what we can find, see what the deal is when I get to Swalecliffe. I'll still carry on to there, and then we'll see if they got some kind of hedge or tent, something I can put I'm going to have to, yeah. Sorry, I can't hear myself think. I'm basically going to have to put the tent behind some hard cover, which limits my options even more than usual, and it's a brand new tent I've never used before, so that's stupid. So yeah, I don't know, you see this wind's not really going to stop until Sunday, so I've got to do tonight and Saturday night. And Saturday night I was thinking of camping somewhere quite wild and right on the coast, and I'm wondering about that now because that's all salt marsh with very little tree cover. I'll have to think things through. Don't be surprised if I end up cutting this trip short and going home in a huff and then coming back and doing the other half some other time. It may become a necessity, I don't know. Things should pick up from Sunday. If I can survive the next 2 days, which I'm alright while I'm walking, you know, it's not cold. I mean, if it were raining and this windy, I'd basically be just looking for the nearest bus stop at this point, but it's dry, so that's okay. It's not cold, but it is a bit challenging, a bit relentless. So I'll get to that abbey thing over there and then we'll see what's there. I could do with just stopping somewhere, having some food and stuff. It's about 4 o'clock now, 4 p.m. or so. Reckon I got another 2 hours of useful daylight left, maybe 3, which should get me to Swalecliffe. After that, I don't know, taxi to a nearest hotel or something. I mean, it's not cheating if I get a taxi to a hotel and then get a taxi back to the same point and pick up the hiking the next morning, you know, that's all right. Nothing about any of this says I have to camp anywhere, just need to do the walking, but yeah, well, it's, you know, interesting in a kind of challenging, meditative sort of way, but yeah, a bit windier than I was expecting or hoping for. But still, we're gaining on that big, it is some sort of bombed out church or abbey or something. I don't know, we'll see when we get there. Getting closer. Not sure where the Roman ruins are. Is this it right here? In there? I don't know. There'll be a sign, I expect. But it's too early to look for shelter now, and I really need to. I mean, I'm encouraged by the looks of trees over there and hills, so maybe there's a bit more varied landscape terrain to hide in when it comes to putting the tent up. But we'll see. This is just mad. Nothing breaking this wind at all. So this looks like Reculver. Roman ruin. I don't know, I'm just seeing earthwork patterns. Whoa, careful, wind's going to blow me off this path. Yeah, you can see sort of earthworks laid out. I've not seen a sign. Some sort of digs or something going on there. Hang on, wrong mode. There we go, back again. So what's that over there? Some sort of knackered old, I don't know, archaeological bits. Recreation of a water wheel. That's probably just the wind turning that. Yeah. Still some way to go to get to the ruined abbey thing. Not sure there's much up there either. Maybe the other side. It's great. It's great. 20 times zoom, which makes an effective telescope. My eyes aren't that good. Oh God, this wind. Yeah, definitely going to need some kind of heavy shelter before I try putting the tent up today. I mean, normally on these long path sections, I like to daydream to make the time go by, the miles go by, but I can't hear myself think. Quite difficult. Oh well, let's keep going. Like I say, the actual walking's not so bad. I mean, it's loud and I'm getting pushed a bit, but I'm just worried about tonight. Can't put a tent up in this, not just in a field. It takes some special precautions, but then part of me thinks I need to be able to sort of deal with this kind of thing, because what happens if I'm like, 20 miles into the Scottish coast from the nearest bus stop or shop, You have to be able to work out how to survive and do this kind of thing, I think. It's not beyond the wits of man. I don't think it's impossible, but I will have to be careful and clever. So we'll see. Anyway, we've got, what time is it now? 4:45, so yeah, probably about 3 hours tops really before I need to really have somewhere sorted. But if it comes to it, I'll just find a B&B, get a bus or taxi or something. There's no point killing myself for a principle. I'm just hiding behind this board, it's nice. Yes, I'm there. Need to cut through all this, get past that. Swalecliffe Towers. I'll try and find a plaque for you. Don't know, there's a cafe there apparently, but also onwards to Herne Bay. So I've had a look on the wider scale of things, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through today's mileage, so that's 8 miles with 4 miles to go, and I've got about 3 hours, so yeah, I'm good. But then there's going to be a lot of faffing around at the end to try and sort out what I'm going to do tonight. So yeah, made some good time along there though. Head down, trudge on. Helped somewhat by the fact the wind's sort of behind me. Yes, path stops here. I need to go up there and round and have a look at the big thing, and try and maybe find a snack of some sort. We'll see. And I can't stand around too long, because although it's not cold, the wind will take away my body heat quite quickly if I don't replace it with more heat from walking. So yeah. Oh, and of course bird flu's still a thing, yeah. Oh, right, good. No camping, yeah, okay. Not camping here, it's ridiculously windy. Swalecliffe Centre. We'll see. May just want to head on and keep trudging while I got the the wheel. That looks somewhat restored to me. Don't know what era. I'm terrible at guessing architecture. Sort of want to say Norman, but then everything around here is called the Saxon Shore Way, so I'm at a loss. Still, here we go. So it was a Roman fort as well as whatever that was. That must have come after. Let's pause for more information. Too cold for me to stand around too long. Swalecliffe Church. Oh, they're doing restoration works. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's bouncing around on its fence a bit too much to focus on, I imagine. Still, yeah, so they are fixing it up. Excellent coastal landmark. You can see it for miles in both directions. I saw it from Margate, more or less. So that might be Herne Bay or Whitstable or something over there. Oh, we're doing cliffs again, are we? Okay. Oh, it looks like that shitty red stuff too. Be very careful near the edge today. Let's see if this cafe is open down here. That might be nice. And keep moving. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go in and have a poke around. There you go. You get the idea. I keep seeing cyclists today, which is mad. Not sure how I'd stay up on one of those today. Blimey, the difference a few houses and some trees make. I'd feel quite comfortable pitching the tent somewhere around here. It's much lower. Blocked. Still, need to be back on the car path again. Apparently I'm on something called the Oyster Bay Way. I don't know. Something about oysters. Coming up on Herne Bay, but I think before that happens I have to go back down to the beachfront and then walk along it for a long way, so more wind. Just enjoying this nice residential inland detour. It just seems so much less fraught. Just powering on really to Swalecliffe today. I mean, if I'd have managed to get the train because of the strike and everything, if my original plan was all working, then I'd have an extra 3 hours in hand today, so I could afford to stop and rest and take it easy and so on. But actually, no, got to foot down and go for it today. Yeah, I did wonder why there was a exotic loop-the-loop double switchback path there. The whole bit's dropped off into the sea. Makes you think. Yes. Good. So, carrying on that way towards Herne Bay. I'm following, yes, the Oyster Bay Trail, because the Oyster Bay Way is too stupid a name. And look, we've got a kind of heron thing and a oyster and the big towers. It's always nice to have a symbol to follow. Guess I'm too much of a conformist. Right, flagging a bit, but I reckon I've only got another hour or so to go till I get to my mileage done for the day. I don't know if it's trying to rain or not. I can't tell if I can see flecks of rain in the air or not. I think it's okay. So yeah, need to crack on. I've seen a number of spots that might do for a tent, but these are all quite residential around here. A lot of dog walkers I've seen so far today, so maybe not the best place. Anyway, not done the mileage today yet, so need to keep going. Might stop for a fish and chips or something. But yes, this whole business of where to sleep tonight, as ever, is starting to be vexing. Starting to preoccupy me a bit. But I mean, you see how calm it is here. Let me hold it steady. You can hear the wind in the tops of the trees, but like I say, if I can just find a decent wall or a couple of rows of trees and hedges, I think I'll be all right. Despite, you know, the high wind speeds on the surface of the sea, if I can get some shelter, I think I'll be okay. And this is quite calm. It'd be a little bit noisy, but down at, you know, tent level, it would be perfectly still. Alright, still not done today, and I'll go to get down to the exposed coast again for another long slog, so here we go. This doesn't seem quite as brutal actually. So we got that's Herne Bay in the distance. Next stop. It's probably the first proper seaside town I'll have seen since Margate, so I could probably find some fish and chips or something. And then Swalecliffe's a bit beyond there, I think. So made good time today. I mean, it's not been ideal conditions, but just keep on trudging. Does make you wonder though about what are my limits, because I suspect, you know, given that there's, I don't know, 20 years worth of this stuff ahead of me potentially. I'm getting older, but also there are going to be weeks that are going to be much worse than this. Where do I draw the line? There's only so much rescheduling can be done. You have to book time off work, and then once that week's booked, that's that. I mean, once you get the day before, I suppose, and you've got the week off, you got the day before, you could just decide not to go, spend the week at home, you know, take the week off anyway, and then try again later in the year, I suppose is the way. But yeah, I mean, logically speaking, the wind should die down as I progress that way, because I'll be heading into the Thames estuary. You know, there'll be large lumps of land on the far side blocking my blocking the wind, so it should get easier, I think, during the week, and later in the week anyway. It's going to calm down. But yeah, got a lot of waves. Oh, what's that? Oh, I can't bother to stop and zoom. It's too windy. Once we get to Herne, I'll try and have a proper zoom on that. It looks like a submarine or an aircraft carrier. Hard to tell at this range and a bit hazy. Let's just concentrate on getting to the next place, I think. So, here we are, civilization of a sort, Herne Bay, and it's just gone 6:15, so I'm on schedule to get to Swalecliffe for 7 probably. There should be plenty of light, hopefully there'll be something there, otherwise, you know, I might just camp in their facility anyway, pay somebody in the morning. At the moment, my plan is to find a co-op or something, just a small shop, buy some really high carb, high sugar food and scoff it, donuts, that kind of thing. Some sort of energy drinky, I don't know, orange Lucozade or something, just to pep me up for the final push, and then yeah, push on to Swalecliffe and then survey the situation. Either I need to get some sort of pitch at Swalecliffe campsite, or push inland to find something cheeky. But I mean, to be honest, I don't know if there's much wilderness that I can just find a hedge to go into. So yeah, B&B's also keeping an eye out for. the options. Of course, that's very colourful. Lovely. Union Jack flags all up still. It was the coronation of King Charles, I suppose, yes. It's been Prince Charles all my life. King Charles III, signalling the Carolingian age, apparently. Don't know, I just work here. So yeah, there was all the pageantry last weekend. I'm enough of a hypocrite that I'll take the free bank holiday, thank you. But yeah. Well, that's all gone away a bit now, so it's Eurovision this weekend, but I'm coming off of that a bit, to be honest. I think it's ever since the semi-finals were a thing, it's just not been the same. Anyway, we'll see how Ukraine do, whether the world still wants to annoy Russia, I don't know. Oh, it's in Liverpool tomorrow, where I'm quite far away from there. That's one of the reasons the train strikes are this weekend, so there you go. Right, I need to find some food. It's my immediate concern, and then some sleep, in that order. Oh, that's quite impressive. Local landmark. See down the coast, just about to see the church, reconstructing church there. Oh, always a pier. I don't even know if I've got time to go on a pier today. I know, it's that bad. I might have to try and have a hobble along there. But yeah, I can't spend too long here, delightful as I'm sure it is in the summer, with the sun and less wind. Just looking for a convenience store, to be honest. See what we can find. Oh, I got some sweat on the lens or something. No, just focusing. Yeah, so I mean, I've seen a few dismal seaside towns in my time, but I don't know, maybe it's unfair, maybe it's just the weather and the time of week and stuff, but the pier was closed, so that's a no then. It's okay, I haven't really got time to swan about, taking in the air. I did want to stop and look at this though. It's an island. Probably disused, has a dereliction look about it. Oh, some sort of paddle steamer terminal from days gone by, who knows? Not an aircraft carrier then. Right, yeah, I don't really want candy floss, something more substantial. I'll keep looking for a proper shop. Yeah, and keep going. Swalecliffe awaits. Well, that's my mind blown. Apparently, that was the pier. That was the end of the pier. The old one. Far the longest at the time. It's a kilometre long. Yeah, that would have been the end of a pier that would have started there. And then it burnt down like they do, and then they built that one instead. Wow, fancy. Yeah, turning the corner now. This is Hampton Pier. Don't know if that inn means accommodation. Anyway, I think that's Swalecliffe on the end there. The low flat bit perhaps? Don't know. Anyway, so let's keep going. I haven't found a convenience store either yet, but look at that sky, that's filthy. Can only imagine the wind coming off the sea is keeping the rain off me just about, but getting a bit of spray and also sweating quite a lot as well. But yeah, keeping on, getting that second wind thing happening a bit, but yeah, could do with something to eat. I'll keep my eyes open, get to the destination and work on the plan from there, I think. Still going, still here. So this is the place. Swalecliffe caravan camping site thing. I've got a nasty suspicion this is their camping field, but it's very windy with absolutely no cover. I don't know, I'll have to go and find out. I mean, they've got glamping pods over there. I don't know if that might be an option, but you know, as the evening goes on, the reluctance to spend money diminishes. I'm hoping it's not just a massive static caravan site. I mean, the website implied tents were fine, but if the tents have to go in this field here, it's just going to get destroyed. which is a problem. I'd have to ask them if they got another bit of ground somewhere else with some shade, you know, it's like the other side of a hedge or something. I'll have to just find out. I mean, at the very least they might have like an on-park shop that I can just buy some food on and keep going. But see, beyond here is the Swalecliffe Nature Reserve, which I've already seen a sign saying that I'm in some kind of super injunction, camping prohibition, high court order type zone, which suggests to me they've had problematic traveller encampments in the past. Did something similar near where I live. It means the police can just turf them out there and then, instead of going through courts and stuff. But I only want to sleep one night. I'm not going to be any trouble to anyone. Anyway, I need to get over there and find out what the deal is. This was the plan though, which was perhaps I should have phoned and booked or something. I mean, that's not very rugged outdoorsy, but given the conditions. Anyway, so yeah, this potentially is, anyway, certainly I've done the distance for today, so if everything goes to shit, I'll just get a bus or taxi to a nearest, you know, travel lodge or whatever and camp the night there, then get the bus back to here again and resume walking. I mean, the point is to make the distance, the point is to walk the path. The point is not necessarily to have your tent shredded in the first night you set up. I'll go and have a look, let's see what the deal is. Well, there we go. Yeah, I consider that a failure, I suppose. Just today. I've given up on today. It's Friday. I mean, if it were just the wind or just the stupid campsite, their office was closed, no one in the bar knew what was going on, and it looked like their camping field, which was utterly empty because of the wind, had absolutely no cover from the wind, and I don't know how to put my tent up yet. So that, the train strikes today instead of tomorrow, like I planned for them being tomorrow, and then the bloody then the distance, the bus took longer than I thought. I had to really rush to get done today. My feet are hurting already, it's only day one. So yeah, all of that came to a head and I just lost it and got a bus to the Whitstable Premier Inn. Here we are, which I'm going to spend the night here. Don't worry, I'm not giving up on the week, and I am going to get the bus back to exactly where I left off and carry on the coast path tomorrow morning from there. But yeah, I mean, there's a beefeater next door, but I can't be bothered with a big sit-down dinner, so I think there's an Aldi just a couple of drives along, so I'll go and load up some stuff in there. It closes at 10, and yeah, just have a small picnic in my room, and I suppose enjoy a nice comfy bed. Might as well pay for it, about 92 quid or something. Just don't care. I mean, bear in mind I was expecting to pay at least 100 quid to commute through London on the peak hours and Friday morning train connections, and it only actually cost me 25 quid on the bus, so I don't know if I'm up or down, whatever. Anyway, more later. I'm going to go and shuffle over to the Aldi and get some snacks or something, and then return here and have an early night and an early morning, and then try and get the first bus back to wherever it was I was before. I'll have to figure all that out, pick up again in the morning. I'll talk to you again soon for more today, but for now I've got to go and get some food before everything shuts. Fortunately I can leave the bag here, so that's something. Didn't know it made a beep noise when you pressed record. Normally I've got the microphone plugged into the audio socket. Feeling a little bit better now. Yeah, so it turned out just beyond the Aldi was an M&S food court place. So I bought myself a big bag of snacks and treats because I was in danger of losing morale. Today's not been a great day, all in all. Just a sort of catalogue of disasters, responses, more disasters, responses, and I'm just really tired. You know, sort of spiritually as well as physically. Feet are hard. I've hit my feet harder than I wanted to on the first day as well, because basically I got off that bus and I just went for it. And I sat down maybe twice in 12 miles, took the bag off twice, sat down once, and had about 2 mouthfuls of water the entire time. But basically, yeah, just powered on completely in the wind as well, which I probably complained about a lot. Yes, I may have overdone it. I mean, I've got travel day blues as well. I mean, regular viewers will know that day one of these things, and I know from experience that day one of these things is somewhat harder than the rest of it. Just seems to get to me a bit more than everything else. The other days, once I get the swing of it, get going, and that's fine. But yeah, that first day is a kicker because travel and everything. Yeah, and I thought, oh, that's okay. It's only Canterbury, and it's only Margate. That's only 3 hours away by train. Of course, there are no trains. Yeah, I mean, I've got the schedule. I've met the schedule, kind of, but I find myself about 5 miles inland, a retail park with a Premier Inn in it. So I'm going to have to get the bus back to my bail point yesterday, early tomorrow, which will put me back on the coastline at about 8 o'clock, I suppose, and then two hours or so of solid marching will get me to the pub where I'm going to meet some friends who live locally, and then I can sit around until they get there, and then we can have some lunch, and then I can sit around a little bit during that time as well. So try and break tomorrow into 2 distinct trips with a nice pub lunch in between. That'll be good. So tomorrow's campsite is going to be in the middle of the wilderness. Deliberately so. I mean, this is part of the problem with today. I couldn't find any suitable wilderness on this stretch of coastline. It's all towns and villages and parks and bowling greens, basically. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to use that campsite then. So maybe I should have booked or something, but then I wouldn't have known about the wind. I think that was their camping field. And yeah, it was basically just right on the seafront. So my tent would have been facing 40-mile-an-hour gusts during the night. A tent I've never put up before. I would, maybe it would have stayed up, maybe I would have been all right, but I'd have just lain in the tent staring at the canvas and just waiting for it to be torn off and flung into flipping Folkestone or something. So, wow, yeah. So if I failed and bailed, then I might as well enjoy a decent night's sleep, get some good quality rest, get my feet recovered and stuff, top up all my water, charge my phone from their wall plugs rather than my own personal batteries, all that, all the mod cons, all the things I normally I used to do a half-week B&B stop. Well, I seem to be doing it on day 1 today, so yeah, make the most of a bad job. And I think we'll just write off today. I mean, technically speaking, I got the mileage done. I got to Margate, which was no mean feat, and I got the mileage I planned for today done. I then went and found a bus and went to a hotel, but still within the rules. And I don't want to get so fed up with everything that I just want to go home straight away. So I'm still on for tomorrow. I'm still on for the rest of the trip. I'm thinking the wilderness spot I'm going to use for the camp tomorrow is going to be somewhat more sheltered from the wind because the Isle of Sheppey is in the way. So that should help. But we'll see. I mean, I just have to make sure I get it right first time with a new tent. I mean, there's only so many ways you can put up a tent. There aren't much of a muchness, although this new tent is an outer first one. Basically, you put the fly sheet up and the poles go in the fly sheet, and then you clip the inside tent into it, which basically means you put the waterproof bit up first and can dump all your stuff inside while you're fiddling about with pegs and stuff. So that's a nice idea. Cross-braced poles, stronger, and in theoretically that means it will stay up on concrete or sand without pegs, although I'd rather put pegs in. The old tent, the one I had before, it would just fold and collapse if the pegs aren't in. The pegs are doing the work there. And yeah, much better quality hydrostatic head, etc. We'll see. I don't know. I've never spent a night in it. We'll find out. So yeah, I'm on for the rest of the plan, but I just need to recover my spirits a bit with some. There's definitely at least one donut in there, and one of those white chocolate milkshakes too. I mean, not going to do my diabetes any good, but I brought the metformin with me, so I'm all right. Yeah, so what time is it? It is just 9:05, so I'm just gonna put my feet up for a bit and then get a very early night for an early start tomorrow. Probably 6:30 I'm going to get up tomorrow so I can catch a bus back to where I should be, aiming to hit the trail and start onward again for about 8 o'clock, so that's what we'll see. I'll check the weather again, obviously, but apparently last time I checked, tomorrow's going to be about as windy as today, so hopefully a bit lighter, a bit less overcast, but we'll see. A bit of sun wouldn't go amiss, to be honest, just to lift the spirits, if nothing else. Oh, yeah, I don't know what I could have done better, really. This has been a whole bunch of things, well, obviously, researched more, I suppose, but I don't like trying to book campsites and hotels and things in advance because I just don't know how far or where I'm going to be of a stage. So, but most campsites, you know, for starters, they're geared for people turning up with a Mondeo with a tent in the boot, one of those large tunnel tents. That's camping. That is not what I do. What I do is something else. And yeah, they're just not set up for walk-in hikers turning up, at dusk. The office was closed. They presumably do all their business through advanced bookings. It's much more. I don't know what I do is old-fashioned. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, here I am, the modern way. Yeah, I don't know, wittering now. Yeah, so I'm going to sign off here anyway. So that's day one, and hopefully we'll have a bit of a reset and start again tomorrow on what would have ordinarily been day one. Because ordinarily I'd have got a nice comfy train on a Saturday to where I need to be, and then just strode on out into some bright sunshine and enjoyed myself and stuff. But I mean, I've seen some fantastic striking landscapes and brooding skies and that sort of thing. And it was never always going to be sunny weeks, The trick is not to let this day destroy the rest of the week. I still want to get this whole week done. It's needs to be done. It's what I do. If I haven't got this, I haven't got anything. All right, I'm all right. It's fine. Just kidding. All right, I'm going to sign off anyway. See you later. See you tomorrow, probably. Who knows? I may even have time to do a proper introduction.